Hey, it's Stace here from Sacred Art and Story, and I want to talk today just about like an issue that comes up for so many women who want to get back into their creativity, and that is I don't have time. And I think there's a lot of reasons why people say that, and sometimes time really is, a reason. And I'll probably talk more about some of the other things, in future videos. But there is really this idea that kind of keeps sitting, like it's like sitting with me around time. And, it started because I got an email a couple days ago from somebody who was on my email list and has like followed me for a long time and always sends me notes from time to time. I love what you're doing. I love your art. And one of these days, I'm going to get to be able to take some of your classes. But right now, I just don't have time. And I feel like there is a story that is so familiar to women around like that busyness and like we do all the things, right? We're always doing all the things. We've got our families, we've got work, we've got, we're just taken care of. But there's something deeper even, like to take that time for ourselves feels like selfish, right? To do any kind of self-care for a lot of women becomes like something that just, shouldn't be done, especially something that might feel almost trivial, in a sense, like an art class, or to just sit down for a couple hours and do some little watercolor project with me, or make a little spirit doll, or a mobile, or anything that kind of feels really sacred and special and kind of revealing, which is the stuff I love to do. And, I've just been thinking about it. And one of the things that kind of came up over the weekend for me was I saw a video on social media, and it was this man who was talking about how he had been taking care of his kids now by himself for a couple of weeks or something like that, because his wife was away. And he like had said, I was prepared for the cooking and the cleaning and the taking the kids all over the place and even a sick kid, the long list of stuff, right? The laundry. But he said, I didn't anticipate the mental drain. The fact that he was constantly now thinking about the next thing he had to do and the list of things that needed to happen. And he was talking about this really from the perspective of how he just sort of had this new understanding of his wife's life, And I think that's so true for so many women. Like our brains are always going. We're always thinking about that next thing that we need to do and the thing that we have to manage in order to take care of all the people that we're taking care of and doing all the things that we're doing. And so that idea of I don't have time to really slow down and spend a couple hours or an afternoon doing something that feels beautiful and sacred and special and informative, really becomes like an impossibility, right? Because your mind is always going to the next thing that you have to do. And I think this is the power of the art that I love to teach people and the things that we're doing in the Artful Crone, where it's simple little things that we're making that are easy to do, right? You don't even have to figure out what you're going to do, which could be a whole other issue, but you get to really just like turn off for a little while and kind of just let your hands do something that's kind of easy to do while your inner world gets to be revealed. Like you kind of move into a timelessness space. And that to me is critical for women. We need that. We need that time where everything sort of shuts off so that we can come back into a place of what sort of feels like, well, balance in a sense, but alignment, right? Where we're not projecting our thoughts out 2 or 3 days, out in the future. And we kind of have this mental space to take a breath. And that for me is really the power of kind of the stuff that I'm doing with women, of the art classes and the little things that kind of become just little projects that feel really soulful. It's like it gives us the space to do that. And I think that's such a deep part of this story of I don't have time because when there is time, we're filling it up like with all the things that, we're thinking about, that mental energy. And that's the part that drains us and burns us out. So, yeah, I just wanted to kind of say something about that because it is a common story, in my world where people start to gently sort of shift that inner story to, I do have time and I actually need this. And doing something like a little once a month class that is gentle and sweet and soulful and easy and actually is something that you really love to do, I think is a really powerful way to bring in some healing and some spaciousness into your life. So just something to think about. And if you want to join us, I'll put the link to the Artful Crone below. But yeah, I think you do have time. I think it's a deeper story than actual time. So yeah.